Okay, I actually just decided to go through the rest of the notes just for reference. On the previous video, I had the new score creation window open, but for some reason my computer didn't record that screen, so you can just open the new score window over here, or you can go to File, New, and listen to the video and just kind of walk along with it. But for some reason, extra windows don't pop up on my computer for some reason, so I'll have to look at that later. But anyways, the fastest way to entering notes, I think, is you can just click somewhere on the staff on the measure you want to work with. So for example, I'm going to do the first measure, but I'm going to put in the alto part. So on Musescore, there's 4 different voices. So voice 1 is like the main voice, but you can also use like 2, 3, and 4 for other stuff. So usually what I've been doing is voice 1 for the melody, and then voice 2 for the alto. And then when we get down to bass clef, I'll do voice 1 for the tenor, and then voice 2 for the bass part. I'll use voices 3 and 4 if I need to, maybe for some extra part or something, but for the piano, it's not really an issue. So anyways, voice 1 for the melody, and then I'll click on voice 2 right here for the, oops, sorry. Let's undo what I did. So I'll click right here. So voice 1 for the melody, voice 2 for the alto part. So before you click on that, click over here on this N looking symbol, and then you can click on 2. You have to click on that first because otherwise it changes the note to that. But anyways, so right now you have this 8th note, and it says the number 4. If you hover over this, it'll show 4 in parentheses. So if you push the number 4, it'll pick an 8th note. And for a quarter note, if you hover over it, it'll say 5 in parentheses. So if you push 5 on your keyboard, it'll change it to a quarter note. And then if you push 4, it'll go back to a quarter note. So 5, 4. And then it kind of follows the pattern. 6, if you hover over the half note, is a half note. So again, you can do 4, 5, 6 to pick what kind of note you want. And then 6 is a half note, and then 7 is a whole note. And then if you go back to 4, that's an 8th note. So the higher the number is, the longer it is, and then the lower the number, the shorter it is. So 4 is an 8th note. If you push 3, you'll go to the 16th note, and then if you push 2, you'll go to a 32nd note, which you probably won't use very often. But anyways, in this instance, it's going to be an 8th note, so I'll push 4, and then I'll just push, the first note is going to be C. Now, the C is an octave too high, so you can click and drag it, but it's faster if you push and hold Control, and then the down arrow. And if you hold down Control while you're doing the arrow up or down, it'll change octaves. So I'll hold down Control and push down a couple more times. So down, down. So it just lowers it an octave. It's still a C, but it's going down by octaves. And then if you push Control, hold it down, and then push up, it'll go up octaves. So as high as you want. So just hold down Control for the octaves. If you want to do steps, if you don't hold down Control and just do the arrows, it will do half steps. So you can just go up and down like that as well. So anyways, the first note is C, and the second note is C also, so I'll push C again. The third note is going to be F. Now this is a quarter note, so I'll push 5, but it's also a dotted quarter note. So yeah, this augmentation dot. You can also just push the period key on your keyboard. Usually for the numbers and the dot, I'll actually use like the 10 key on my keyboard on the right side. That's a lot faster than trying to use the keypad towards the top near all the function, the F1, F2 keys. I'll use the 10 key on the right side. That's a lot faster. So anyways, you'll push 5, period, and then you'll push F. And then the next note is an 8th note, so you'll push 4, and then F again. And the next note is going to be G. It's a quarter note, so you'll push 5. So you'll push G, and the next note is A. And then the next ones are going to be some 8th notes. So you push 4, G, F, 6, D, 5B 7C, and then the next note is going to be a dotted half note, so you'll push 6, and then the dot. Now before you push anything, to tie a note, you can also push the plus sign. So basically once you type in the number and the dot, you can just push the plus sign and it'll make the note with the tie automatically. You can keep this going too for as long as you need to, so I'll just push it a couple times, but that's too far obviously, but you just keep pushing the plus. We'll add more ties based off of the value you have up here, which is based off the numbers that you pushed before. So we did 6 period, so it did a dotted half note. So anyways, I'm going to undo what I did. So we did that, and then this next note is going to be those two, and I'll just skip the rest. You can ask me if you have more questions. Okay, so the alto part is done, and the soprano part is done. So I'm going to go up here and save this in case it crashes. So everything is on, all the alto stuff is on voice 2, and this will be handy for later if you need to make parts or whatever, because it's separated. I won't go into too much detail, but on the right side I have my palettes of my tools. There's also the selection filter on mine. I'm going to drag this down just to kind of get out of the way, but this selection filter is over here. It's under View and Selection Filter, F6. So you can go here and push this if you need to see it. View Selection Filter. What this allows you to do is you can grab, I'll just push Control A to grab everything, and I can uncheck voice 1, for example, so it's only going to grab voice 2. So if somebody wanted to play the alto part on some instrument, then you can just do voice 2 and then it'll only select those notes. Or if they only want to play the melody, you can pick voice 1 and uncheck voice 2. So now it only grabs the voice 1 part, the melody. So that's why I like to separate the voices. Anyways, I'm going to continue on with the tenor part. Remember to do Control up and down for the octaves, but yeah, the tenor part we're going voice 1, so I'll just crank this out real quick. Remember this is a whole note right here, and it's going to get tied to this dotted half note. So you can just push 6 period and then push the plus sign, and it'll tie that for you automatically. And some of these notes went down an octave. This E, you'll kind of notice some of the intervals, it'll jump automatically to the wrong octave, and it's kind of annoying. You can always grab, if you have a bunch of notes, you can grab the first note and the last note and hold down Shift and then click, and it'll select everything in between it as well. And then you can do Control up to raise that up an octave, and you can keep going. If you want to select individual notes, you can just hold down the Control button and then click while you're holding down. You have to hold down Control while you're clicking, but I can grab like this note and this note just by holding down Control, and then I can lower these or whatever. But Shift will get everything in between it, and then Control is like individual items. So anyways, I'm gonna click on the next note. Instead of going up here and pushing this button, you can just push N on your keyboard. That way you don't have to drag your mouse around so much. So anyways, I'll push N right there, and I'll keep going. So this is going to be a D flat, so I just push D, and then if you just, without pushing down Control, just push down the down arrow by itself, and it'll take that down a half step. And you can also, keep going down or go up as well. Notice when you go down, if I go down to C and then go up, it'll make it a C sharp. It's the same thing as a D flat. but I try to keep it the same as the sheet music, just for consistency. But it doesn't really matter. It's just a cosmetic thing. But anyways, so I'll go back up to D, and then go back down to D flat, and keep going. Okay, so the tenor part is done. I'm gonna go up here and save this, and then I'm gonna go back to the first measure, push the N, and then voice 2 for the bass part. So if you notice, the D to the A, it jumped down an octave. So the note is still green, it's highlighted. So I'll just push Control up, and it'll raise it up an octave. Oops, and I did that. If you ever mess up, you can always push Control Z. I think I might have brushed over that, but if you push Control Z, it'll undo a bunch of stuff. And then Control Y will redo it. And I think you can see that over here, undo and redo. So I'm going to keep going. So this one is going to be this B flat up here, but you want it down, so you'll push Control down. And I pushed 6 period, and I tied and the plus symbol to make this dotted half note tie. So that's all done. I'm going to save this. By the way, when you make changes, you'll notice a little asterisk next to the file name, both right here on the tab and then up here at the top. So that's kind of a warning that something has changed. So if you're not sure if you changed something or not, that's how you can tell. You can save it. You can always undo it after you save it, but that's just a good indicator. See, now the asterisk is gone, so it's just a way to tell if you saved it or not. Okay, so the song is done. There's 3 verses. I'm going to double check this real quick. So on the last measure, click it, right click, measure properties. That's at 3. And that's it. The play count 3 is important, because if you were to play this using this play panel up here, it's going to play the song 3 times. So if you want it to play 3 times, then you'll need to do that. Otherwise, I think it plays it twice by default. Okay, now anyways, for the lyrics, so the first note, if you have the music in front of you, you can click on the first note, and I like to attach the lyrics to the melody, because that's what 99% of people are going to be singing anyways. So anyways, the melody, pick the first note, and then you can push Control L, but you can also go to, I think it's Add, Text, and Lyrics. But you can just push Control L, it's a lot faster. So anyways, first note, Control L, and in the hymnals, there's kind of a space between like the 1 period and then the first word, but if you put a space, it's going to mess things up. So I'll just do 1 period and then the first word without spaces. So the first word is at, so I'll just put in 1 period at, and then if you add a space, it'll jump to the next note. So I don't put a space between the 1 and the at, because then it's going to put the at on the second note, and you don't want to do that. So I just ignore the space, so it stays on the same note. And then you just type in the words, keep pushing space. Keep pushing the space bar to keep going. And then, so choosing, I'm going to push the hyphen key. It's right next to 0 and the equal key, kind of on the top of your keyboard. And the ing part, the ing, is going to be on the half note. So if you push the hyphen once, it's going to be on it's going to put it on the next note, but you want to put it on the half note. So you'll push it twice, and then you'll push ing. So that way the ing is on the half note. So you need to push the hyphen twice. If you push the hyphen only once, here, I'll undo what I did so you can see. So if I push the hyphen just once and then do this, it's going to put the ing on the 8th note. which is not what you want to do. So the ing needs to go in the half note, so push the hyphen twice. So choosing, comma, and then just keep typing the words in. Something I like to do, he came, the came is held for a couple notes. So that same hyphen key, if you hold down shift and then push the hyphen key, it'll make a little underscore, and then just push it for the next note too, and it'll make this little underscore bar that lets people know they need to hold that word out while they're singing it. And then the next note will be when, and again this one is held a little bit, so I'll put the underscore again, so shift and then that hyphen key again. Make sure you push it again to get to the next note. Kind of like the hyphen over here, you want to do the underscore thing twice to get to this next note. And then this is the same, the losing, the ing is on the half note, so we'll do hyphen twice, and then ing, comma, and then he came, and then we'll do the underscore, and on this one, the next measure, the next measure right before long is just kind of a break. So I'm not going to put anything there. You could put some little symbol there if you wanted to, but I'll just ignore that. So I'll just push space. Now notice the that underscore thing didn't hold. So what you can do is we'll go back here. We'll do the underscore. If you want to keep this empty, I'll just put an S right here, and then I'll push space again, and I'll put long right here, the next word. But anyways, just click over here somewhere in the empty space, click on the S, and then I'll push delete on my keyboard. That's like the delete key kind of by home and end. You can also click on it and push delete, same thing. That way it'll keep the underscore, but it's not on this note. And anyway, so you can click on long. You can click on long and push the right arrow. You can push space to get back to where you need to go, or you can also just click on the next note and then push Control L. Either way, it does the same thing. So before, so we'll do BE hyphen and then 4. Oops, and I messed up, so I need to go back. I need to go back and fix this word. If you're on the note ahead of it, you can just push the right or left arrows to move around. So if I push the left arrow, it's going to select this whole word. So I can actually just push backspace and delete this. If I push left again, it's going to just go to the beginning of the word, so it won't delete everything. But anyways, you can push Control A to delete it, to select it, and then you can delete it. And then I'll type in the right word, and then same thing, the underscore to the end. So that is the first verse. So I'm going to have to go back here and you can push Control L again, and it should start right below it on the second verse. I'm going to type in the first word, and then I'm going to show you something, but I'll push 2 period and then when without the space. That way it doesn't shift the words around. There's also this handy panel that you can open up called the inspector panel, and that's under view and inspector. It's also F8, but you can open this, and this inspector panel is used for a lot of things. For lyrics, you can click on a word, for example, and over here it'll tell you it's on verse 2. So if you move this to like verse 1, I'll just delete this, push 1, oops, push 1 and push enter. Yeah, see the when gets moved to the top. So you don't want it on the top. This is the second verse. So you'll delete this, push 2, and then it's underneath the first verse. So you probably won't need to do this. It's just kind of a trick in case you maybe typed in the third verse instead of the second, and you need to move stuff around basically. But anyways, I'll just close this because we won't need this panel at the moment. Okay, so when, and then I'll click on the G and push Control L, and I'll keep going. And this one, again, I'll push the hyphen twice. And on this first verse, this is actually supposed to be a semicolon, not a regular colon. So I just double clicked on it, and then you can edit it, and I'll just type in the semicolon. Don't forget to save while you're doing this in case it crashes. So I'll go here to the next one, Control L. And actually this is supposed to be another hyphen, like that. So on this note, there is going to be the word to is right here. So I'm going to type that in. It's just on the first verse, there's nothing. Again, you can put some symbol there if you want. I think it's fine if it's empty, but it's just a cosmetic thing. Okay, and then a cool thing is at the end right here, this last line, at the right time, at the best time he came, instead of typing this out 3 different times, you can grab the first lyric and the last lyric. I'm sorry, grab the first lyric, hold down Shift, and click on the last word. So now this last phrase should be in blue. And then you can push Control C to copy, or you can also right click and push copy. Same thing, Control C. And then click on the first note, and then you can do Control V to paste it, or you can right click and click paste right here too. Control V, same thing. So you can't really tell, but there's basically 2 words on. There's 2 words on top of each other. So you can basically just grab one and then change it to another lyric number. So actually, since there's 3 of these, I'm just going to paste this again. So now there's 3 of these. So what I'm going to do is just I'm going to click on one, and then I'm going to hold down Control and basically just click the rest of these. And it should be grabbing just one word. Now you can't really tell because they're on top of each other, but anyways, grab those. You can push F8 to open the inspector, or you can go to View and Inspector. So these should still be blue, and then I'll just change this to 3. And then notice now that there's words on both. And then I'm going to click again, hold down Control for each of these, and go to the end of the phrase right here, and then click on this and type in 2. So now you have it on 3 different spots. If you held this down and pushed Shift, if you held down Shift and did this, then it's going to grab everything, and you're going to change it for the whole thing. It's not going to work. So for instances like this, that's why you have to use Control and then click on a word. You're only grabbing one word at a time, but you can't tell from the program which one you're selecting. So just hold down Control and then just grab the words. So anyways, you have this last line is done, so that'll speed things up a little bit. And actually, a lot of times when I am putting the hymns into Musescore, I might even just skip this since it's the same, but they have it on the sheet music, and I try to keep it the same just for consistency. So anyways, verse 1 and 2 is done. We have this last line of verse 3 done, so we can go back to the beginning and click on the first note, and then we can type in the third lyric. One more thing I wanted to mention too that I kind of forgot. When you are typing in the notes, I like to do the notes first, and then I'll actually go back and play this. So I'll have the notes, and then you can go up here and push this play button, and I'll just listen to it once or twice just to make sure it sounds correct. Because if you have like notes missing and you need to add notes, it's going to mess your words up, and it's going to be more complicated to fix it. So it's better if you have the notes in place first, and then you can add the lyrics later. All of the lyrics have to get attached to a note, so you need to have the notes are the foundation. So you need the foundation up before you start putting the walls up, or it's gonna come tumbling down. So anyways, but I already listened to it before. That's just a note for next time. So the first note, I'm gonna push Control L, and again, this should be on verse 3. We can close this because we're done with this, but yeah, it should be underneath this. So I'll push 3 period, and then the first word is 2, so no space, and I'll just keep going. And whoops, lowly is on the half note. Now something you can do is if I type this in, instead of deleting this, the ly and the comma, I can just grab this one and I can cut this. So you can do Control X, or right here, if you right click, it's cut. You can grab this note and you can paste it. So Control V or paste, and it'll just shift it over for you like that. That way you don't have to go delete everything. So there's a couple ways of doing that. So anyways, I'm gonna click on this next note, Control L. It should go to the third verse down here, and I'll keep going. Okay, so I finished the third verse, and we already have this other part in here. One more thing on this part. Up here, it's where it says he came. I could have copied and pasted it like I did down there, but it's such a short piece, I just decided to do that manually. But you can definitely do that. The same thing like right here, just copy paste, and then just open your inspector panel, F8, and then you can change the verse number. But it was so short, so I didn't need to do that. So this is pretty much done. Maybe you might want to double check the tempo to make sure that sounds correct. Maybe just double check this is on 3 repeats. It's not going to mess with the lyrics or anything. It's just going to be how it sounds if you play it back. But that is it for the lyrics. I hope this helps.